On September 21st of 2017, Governor Greg Abbott appointed our new Texas Insurance Commissioner, Kent Sullivan. Commissioner Sullivan has a wide range of legal experience, having served as a justice on the Texas Court of Appeals, a state district judge, and with Governor Abbott as his first assistant attorney general. And prior to being named commissioner, you were a partner in the law firm of Jackson and Walker here in Austin. Welcome.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Let me ask you a few questions. We'll start with some easy ones. Commissioner Sullivan, you've been commissioner a little over 4 months now. I'd like to ask your assessment of the state of the property and casualty insurance industry in Texas. Is there anything out there that has surprised you thus far?
Well, the thing that's probably surprised me most thus far is how quickly the time has passed. It's actually been a little bit less time than the 4 months, because it took me, I think, a month or so between getting appointed and trying to wrap up my affairs in the private sector before I actually began work as the new commissioner. But can't say that I'm surprised, but I would say that I'm impressed. Impressed with the size and scope of the marketplace, and I'm sobered by the job responsibilities. I think the numbers show that we're the number 2 market in the United States, in the top 10 in the world. So it's a big job, and I'm just hoping that I'm equal to it.
If you were to point to some key issues that have gotten your attention and you see that need to be addressed, and you're working on them now, and then probably for the future, can you pass those along?
I obviously took office in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, so that is certainly something that had my attention from day one and continues to have my focus today. If you look at what happened in the Houston area, it's hard not to be impressed with the significance of the flood insurance issue. I think the information that we have suggests that probably less than 1 in 4 consumers in that general area had flood insurance. And while I think we hope to navigate to a place that's going to be satisfactory for everybody after the federal funding comes through and the like, obviously from an exclusively insurance perspective, I'm concerned that people have adequate risk management, and that means being adequately informed and educated about the need for flood insurance. So that's really important. So one thing that's going to be a continuing theme for us is going to be trying to provide adequate information and education to work with partners to ensure that we've got adequate risk management tools for consumers. And one place we're starting is next month. We intend to roll out a new website. It's going to have much more substantial information, and even more importantly, much more user-friendly information. I think it'll be a big change, and we're excited about it and happy to bring it to the Texas marketplace.
I know Harvey has kind of just overshadowed everything, but anything else there on your agenda that you're taking a close look at the moment?
Well, yeah, there are going to be a number of different things that we look at, but Harvey, I think continues to dominate the landscape as far as property and casualty is concerned. It's going to have our attention for quite a while, trying to make sure that we've done what's necessary in the aftermath of that.
If you look at Hurricane Harvey, our last major hurricane, in fact the only hurricane since then, was Ike back nearly 9 years ago. And I think you could see a noticeable difference of how both hurricanes were handled. And if you look at the complaints at this time, you're looking at Harvey with a quarter of the complaints that Ike had at this time. Is there anything that you can say to the property and casualty industry of, hey, you've done a good job, or this is what you need to work on, or anything to shed some light on how the industry has responded?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I've only been in this job for less than 4 months. So I think the candid answer is that it's probably too early to tell. As you implied, the current yardsticks that are available to us look fairly promising. As you mentioned, we've got less than 900 complaints that have been filed post Hurricane Harvey. That stacks up against well over 3,200 complaints in a similar time period following Ike. And the 900 complaints, less than 900 complaints that have been received, have to be measured against the over 670,000 claims that were made following the hurricane. So that certainly looks promising in terms of the industry's relative response. So I'm going to take a wait and see approach because as Yogi Berra said, it's not over till it's over, and all of the data won't be in probably until the third quarter of this year. But for right now, I think it does look somewhat promising.
You mentioned that TDI is going to come out with a new website soon, and we're talking about flood insurance, and obviously a problem, especially in Houston and Harris County, where those numbers you mentioned, maybe 1 in 4, it could be even a lot less than that. Is there anything that the TDI and the industry could actually work together to do to help out areas where flood insurance just seems to be lacking, and anything we can do to educate, provide more information, anything, maybe as a joint effort? Is that a possibility?
My view is that probably the single most important issue that overrides the or that's hanging over the insurance industry is the need to be more user-friendly. People have to understand how to purchase insurance, how to navigate different insurance products, how to use insurance when they need to make certain that they're able to obtain the benefits of the insurance when it's necessary. And as a practical point, I think it's impossible or very difficult to do it as a layperson unless you have access to useful information that's presented to you in plain, understandable language. And I think that's an area in which the industry can improve. I think there are partnership opportunities for us. I think it's a classic area in which it ought to be a win-win for everyone, industry, consumers, regulators. And in that regard, one of the things that I'm interested in doing is to make sure that we at TDI undertake a similar commitment and that we change the way we do business with respect to particularly our interaction with consumers, and that we become as user-friendly as possible and that we use plain, understandable language. So we're already moving forward on that, and one tangible aspect of that people will see soon will be our website.
You know, you're in a very political job here, appointed by the governor, and when the legislature comes rolling around, there's always lots of, gosh, wish you could do this or look at this closer. You know, at the 19th, I guess it'd be the 86th legislative session will be rolling around in 2019, which will be next year. But are there, in previous years, TDI has asked for stakeholder input when it comes to preparing for the legislative session. Do you see turning to the industry for any biennial recommendations, and will that continue? That has happened in the past.
We will absolutely be having stakeholder meetings, and they will actually start soon. I expect our first meeting will take place probably in March or April, and we will be getting information out to the industry on that, and there'll be more meetings to follow. My view is that there is nothing more important than being in touch with the people who really represent the boots on the ground. They understand the current dynamics in the marketplace. we've got to do our best to be in touch with it and to stay in touch with it. So you'll see a lot of reaching out from this department to try and make sure that that happens.
In 2017, there was legislation that passed on how the NAIC mandates how they should be handled. Have you attended any NAIC meetings? I know you've just been here 4 months, and are you aware of any new mandates coming from the NAIC that may require legislative approval in the upcoming session?
There was an NAIC general meeting, I guess, that was held in December. I did not attend that because, candidly, we were busy and focused on various issues that needed to be attended to here in the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. I did just a few days ago attend a commissioners only meeting that was an NAIC meeting, so that was my very first, and I'm just beginning, I guess, to get acquainted with that organization. With respect to NAIC mandates, I'm not aware of that. I think that you're talking about the accreditation process, and I'm not aware of anything right now that would be in the pipeline that might be something for legislative consideration. The one thing that does come to mind that is not an NAIC mandate, but may be viewed in a similar vein, I guess, is the covered agreement is something that is something that we have to be interested in and mindful of. It was signed in the final days of the Obama administration, and that may potentially have an impact here in Texas with respect to certain reinsurance collateral requirements. But we're still taking a look at that.
Yeah, if you look back at the history of TDI, you've got some commissioners who were just vehemently against the NAIC. You had others who wanted to head it up, and having only been on the job for 4 months, I guess you're still feeling your way around.
I think that's a fair assessment. I, am trying to be thoughtful about the various issues that are posed by the NAIC. I think that there is a place for an organization that can facilitate some degree of uniformity and collaboration in the marketplace, since this is a 50-state dominated regulatory overlay. But I, am concerned about issues that come up from time to time involving state sovereignty, and I'm very mindful that my job and our job here at TDI is to look out for Texas consumers and the Texas marketplace, and that will be at the forefront of anything that I do.
Well, let's wrap this up with your overall philosophy or approach to insurance regulation, and what do you need from the industry?
I think the most important thing at the end of the day is first to try and make this industry and its products as user-friendly as possible. And that involves trying to communicate and deal with consumers and the marketplace in general in a way that is understandable. I think that we're past the point where the industry can be satisfied in being a black box to consumers, hard to understand and hard to use. So I think that there's room for everybody to improve with respect to that. And of course, to the extent that there are any risks that are posed to consumers in terms of inappropriate marketing practices or other elements of unfairness that exist in the marketplace, then it's our job at TDI to do what's necessary to protect the public in that regard, and we're going to do what's necessary.
And we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Texas Insurance Commissioner Kent Sullivan, thank you.